Hi guys, happy Saturday morning to you. Jodie from JPS here today. Today we're talking about policy in practice and recruitment and what's going on in the sector. So we know there is a lot going on in the sector right now. There's some industrial action being called and educators going on strike for better wages and conditions. Now, I don't know all the details, but based on everything that I've read, based on my own observations, it appears to be centre-based educators over family daycare educators, and that there definitely is more from centre-based educators than family daycare. So that's what people are looking for. So they're looking for their worth. It essentially is their worth and their recognition. I get why educators do that. I've been in this sector now for over 30 years, and we've always struggled for wages, conditions, and recognition. We do a remarkable job. There is no doubt about that. Our sector, we were frontline workers. Our sector, what we do with children, we give children life skills. It is invaluable work, what we do. Now, because there is this unrest in centre-based predominantly, in the sector overall, but in centre-based predominantly, I want to talk to you today about whether or not this is a good opportunity for family daycare to recruit, because family daycare is growing. We know that. We're very aware of that. We know that families are becoming more and more aware of family daycare and what family daycare benefits there are. So we know that it's definitely getting under the spotlight. We know that it's growing. There's providers coming on board all the time. So we also know there are people that will stay in this sector like me. I've ridden through all of these waves over the years, and I'll stay, and I've always stayed in the sector. There are going to be people that remain. So if they are unhappy in a centre-based environment, then maybe now is the opportunity to educate people about how they can come into family daycare and what the benefits for them are in family daycare. So there are a lot of people who will stay. There are always people coming into the sector, particularly at at the end of high school during VCAL. That's where a lot of people are identified, and they're kind of moved into the sector at that level. There's a lot of people who don't hold qualifications. It's easier to get into a Cert 3, so they come for a range of reasons. So I say it all the time, there are people that are unhappy with the work in centre-based, and there's a lot of dynamics in centres that create that. When you work in centres, there's a lot more, we hear of a lot more drama, we hear of a lot more cliquey relationships, we hear a lot more of, my boss did this and my boss did that, and I'm trying to get this on board and I'm trying to get that. So there is a particular dynamic in centres that we don't see in family daycare on that day-to-day level. We all have to deal with different relationships, there's no doubt about that. And if you look at centres also, there is a particular demographic in centres. So as I go around, I see the same demographic all the time when I visit long daycare centres. You're talking about particular age groups, we're talking about particular upbringings, we're talking about, so there's a lot of consistencies in the dynamics, predominantly women. So we can look at those demographics as what they are, how those demographics are influencing the sector also. So when you're looking at recruiting, what do you look for? Now, in family daycare, when I speak with family daycare providers, that I hear the same thing all the time. How do I get the right educators? Well, what is the right educator? And often when you look at your candidates, the first thing you look at is their training. Then, what else do you look at? You look at their experience, you look at their other qualifications, their certifications, they have to have a police check. So we tend to, in family daycare, a lot of providers tend to focus on the qualification, the police check. Yep, they want to do this, tick, they're in. So is that the right candidate, or what candidates are we looking for? So ideally we need to be looking at their aptitude. Can they understand the framework? Can they interpret the framework? Can they put that into practice? Are they looking at a career, or are they just looking to make some money at the end of the month? What is it that they're looking for? Do they understand the exceeding? Oh, I've put training twice in this. That's how important it is. I've put training twice in this presentation. So what is it that we're really looking for in recruitment? And in family daycare, it is actually very different to centre-based care. Now, we know that families love family daycare once they either know about it or once they get into it. 2 years ago, I did a survey of I can't remember how many families were in the survey now, probably about 100 families, and 25% of those families were not aware that family daycare existed. Now, that was 2 years ago. We know that things have changed over the pandemic, and it might be time to redo some kind of survey now and see where families are sitting with this. But families don't realise that, yes, I can have education and care in a home environment with one educator. My child gets to go backwards and forwards to kindergarten. My child gets to go backwards and forwards to school. They can even go to their extracurricular activities. They can go shopping. It is really the optimal model for families and children. They're smaller groups, they're multi-aging. So we know that families love it, and we know that children benefit from it. So before you go advertising anything, I want you to have a little think about this. It might be a good time to really market your business though, but we'll talk about some advertising. So before you do that, just remember, I speak to family daycare providers all the time, and they invest so much in getting educators on board. So they may do the ad, then they do the shortlisting, then they do the interviewing, then they go out to the home and they monitor for a few months, and then at the end of the few months it goes wrong and they go, I shouldn't have got this person, or they've got ongoing issues as they go. How can I get better educators? How can I get people more engaged? And this is good for, if you're an educator listening to this, this is also good for you in case if you want to get an assistant down the track. Put all this in the back of your mind. If you're looking into a leadership position and moving from an educator into a coordinator role, or if you are a provider, this is all information that put it in the back of your mind as far as recruitment goes. So before you waste any, because time is money. So if you're spending time getting educators into the service, or an educator assistant into the service, and you're retraining and you're putting everything in place to get them up to that minimum requirement of Cert 3, then you've really got to wonder what that investment is. So if you look at that from a business perspective, what is your return on investment if you're engaging, registering, contracting educators that may not stay the long run, or don't have the skills that you want, they don't have the attitude that you need. So before you go ahead and do any of that, I want you to, because we have been talking about the last few weeks about policy and practice. So making sure that you've got a selection criteria. And yes, qualifications are a must in this sector, but that doesn't mean if you get the right person that you can't say, yep, come with us, you are the right person, you are the best person for this job, and we'll support you in your Certificate 3. You might have somebody that's coming from a real estate background, but they've got the business aptitude. They understand early childhood, and not everybody. Some people come in with an understanding of early childhood from having their own children. Some people come in due to past experience. So yes, we need qualifications, but in family daycare, we can be working towards our qualifications as a family daycare educator. So you could get somebody from corporate who's got a really good business understanding, they've got a really good early childhood understanding, and they're looking for some way to change their job. And I've seen a few educators. One educator in particular did have a background in real estate, and she was probably one of the best educators I saw, because she got the learning cycle, that it just made sense to her. So when the approved provider supported that particular person with the framework, yep, she got it. It was easy for her. Her program flowed, her documentation was excellent. It wasn't a lot. She didn't have a lot, and we don't need a lot of documentation, particularly around programs. So yeah, so having a look for the right person, setting your selection criteria, using this opportunity to update your policies and procedures and your policy and practice. You know, I read many policies, as I say to you guys, I read many policies, and I see Yes, oh, we will do this and we will do that and we will do this and this is what we check and this is what we do. And then when I speak to the approved provider, how do you recruit? And often they say they just turn up to the office. They say they want to do it. We get them to fill in the forms. We go out, we do the home assessment, and then that's it. They're registered. They're on board. If you're only approved for 15 educators and you're taking educators like that are taking up a space, you're giving yourself no opportunity to get somebody in that will drive your family daycare service. So in one way, that type of recruitment where, yep, they've just turned up and here we go, they want to do it, let's get them in there. And often they can be the ones that become problematic because they haven't gone through a screening process. They go through screening, of course, but they haven't gone through that process of really building up the expectations of what they need to deliver. They haven't gone through that. Is this person a right fit for family daycare? Is this person a right fit for me? Is this person a right fit for, can they grasp the framework? Can they put the framework into practice? So that's what we're looking at. So this is where I think we have the best opportunity now in family daycare, because there is so much unrest in centres that this is an opportunity for us to recruit. There's a huge number of people right now that are unhappy in centre-based services. So now would be the opportunity to recruit those. And some of that you may need to, it may be an educational program as far as your advertising. What are the benefits in family daycare? So you may need to promote that in your community. What educators, if they are going to leave centre-based, what are the benefits for them if they do come over to family daycare? They are running their own business, so they do have to have that way of thinking. And I've said this a million times, educators working from home, family daycare educators need to have a business understanding. That's one of the key things that is often missing when you say, I need the right educators. They've got to have that business understanding, because their home turns into a workplace the minute that they start. So they have to have that attitude as they go. They are running a home business. They are contracted. They are self-employed business owners that are working, they're registered and working with and being supported by a service. So this is the bit that we need to get into their heads, and maybe even your head. We need to get that into people's heads. So now, when you are looking at educators either coming over from centre-based, or even if you look outside the early childhood sector, like as I said with the example with the ex-real estate agent, what is it that you're looking for? So when you're looking for your candidates, look for your attitude. You need a professional attitude that is committed to their business, committed to themselves, committed to their own professional development, committed to learning and understanding, committed to making their profit, committed to their customers. So that's what we're looking for. We're also looking for that ability. You may have somebody who's very highly qualified, but maybe just not in early childhood. So if they've got that critical thinking through their qualifications, they would be able to apply that to the national framework. And it would be easier to do that. So if you've got somebody from a psychology background, let's say, and they've got that critical thinking as part of their university training, then they would absolutely be able to apply that. It might take them some time to get it right, yes, but are they the person that's worth nurturing for you? Depending on the person, I'm going to say yes. I've got a team now in JPS. We've got a team of there's probably about 6 of us now, but in our team, we don't really look for skills. We look for interests more than anything. So when I was looking for somebody to help with design and help me with presentations, because that we needed help there, it was really about somebody who was committed to this and figuring it out. They had basic knowledge, absolutely, they've got it, people have to do that. But if you look at interest-based, if you look at what other skills they're bringing, how those skills are transferable, what they want to do. So look at that from a retention perspective. And if we speak about the real estate agent again, we know that real estate agent was looking for a break from her previous world. She was looking for a break from all of those pressures that came with that, but she could handle pressure. She wanted pressure, and she was capable. So when it came to her, she's still in the sector, and she's going great guns, and that service is at exceeding now, and that person had played a really big role in the service getting exceeding. One of the educators that was visited never had any non-compliances. All of her documentation was up to date, an absolute gun at running her own small business. And that's what we want. So you can consider the training as you go. So even though that particular educator was at working towards, when it came to the early childhood qualifications, her program was excellent. The children were happy. The customers were happy. The families are happy. The customers are the families. And the service was happy. So it's just a way of thinking about your recruitment and how you're going to do that. So how do you get the right fit? Some of that is negotiation. So I say to providers all the time, some of that is negotiation. And educators, think about this too if you are looking for an assistant. So you think to yourself, okay, this is my budget. This is how much we charge families. So this is your bulk of money. And for educators, this is your bulk of money. How much can I spend? So you might have a base wage, which gives you limited opportunity. But if you can negotiate that, so you might say, okay, as a provider, I've got an educator that is starting out that really doesn't know. So, okay, we're going to charge, the lower X dollars. Or you may have somebody who's really highly qualified. They might have a business skills. They might be able to really get up there. So you would negotiate a different rate with that educator. So educators that can bring more, to wherever that comes from, if they can bring more, then they can negotiate their rate with you easier and better. So have a little bit of buffer to negotiate what you want. You might have the right person that comes on board. Like if we talk about an assistant for a minute, you might have an assistant that comes on board. In your thinking, you were saying, okay, I'll pay X amount of dollars for X amount of hours. But that person may be so good, you go, okay, I'll pay a little bit more, but I can't afford it. So I'll pay a little bit more, but I'll pay less hours. But that person's efficiency that they're bringing into your business far outweighs what your original thinking was. So sometimes that negotiation will help you get that right person. And then what are you going to invest in that person? So if we go back to the real estate agent as the example, the investment that the service put into that particular educator, that paid off, because the skills and the knowledge that educator with that real estate agent was bringing to an educator role, the investment was time, support, resources, those sorts of things. It wasn't retraining. It was supporting them while they were learning new skills. And because they had the aptitude and the capability and the commitment, it was an easy process for everybody. And it really didn't take that long for that real estate agent to transfer those skills over. So that real estate agent got paid a higher rate, but performed a lot better, presented a lot better. The return was a lot better, became full, has got a great waiting list, so has built a sound little business for themselves, which in turn has improved the service provider's rating. So that's excellent. Oh, I think I've got nothing there. No, nothing there. All right. Okay, so that's it for today. So if you've got any questions, pop them here below. And we are talking about recruitment and is this an opportunity for recruitment? What that looks like for you. So how are you going to do that? Have a look at your policies, go through that, make sure your policies match up. Maybe rethink your key selection criteria. What is it that you really need above anything else? And I do believe it's business skills that have to be up there. Have a look at your process. I always recommend to people, make sure people apply in writing, which gives you that shortlisting opportunity. So you can see that they have got the level 5 language literacy and numeracy skills that we need for Cert 3. don't waste time going out there visiting homes and doing all this until you've done your shortlisting, because time is money. So if you look at one home visit, that's 2 hours per home visit. If you do it safely, so 2 of you should go to the initial home visit just purely from a safety, a work safe perspective. Average out those hours, that might be $45 an hour per person going, so that's $85 an hour, and you may not even pass that person may not even pass a home assessment. So think about how you're going to do that. Maybe educators need to submit photos before you go out to do the home assessment. There's a whole range of things that you can do to shortlist to make sure that you're getting the right educators. And remember, we are currently reviewing, improving, and embedding our policies to make sure that it's that everything's all on track and that you're all good. So good luck with that. Pop your questions here below. Make sure you share this video between all of your networks. And don't forget, the policies are on sale for another day or so. So the code is the code is bus.edu.19A. So if you get that code, pop that in at the register, at the checkout, you'll be able to get 25% off policies if that's where you are. But we finished this topic as of this week, so that code will expire on the 31st of July. So good luck. Just remember, pop your questions here. I'll pop back and respond to any questions as we go. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you here next Saturday. See ya. Bye.